Good morning, students and colleagues. I'll be talking about genioplasty. I'm Dr. Vikas Singh, Professor and Head, Department of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery. The contents of the topic are introduction, anatomy, preoperative evaluation, that is facial analysis, cephalometric evaluation, history of genial procedures, chin classification, osseous genioplasty, alloplastic genioplasty, complications, conclusions and references. So genioplasty is a surgical procedure used to alter the size and morphology of the bony chin with concomitant changes in the surrounding soft tissues. It can be used as a single procedure or it can be used as adjunctive procedure along with other major osteotomies of the jaw. So anatomy, you have depressor anguli oris, depressor labii in the midline and platysma in the lower half and mentalis in the submental region. So the muscles attached to the chin, posteriorly you will have genioglossus, mylohyoid, and digastric. So we have to take care of those while performing the surgery. And the blood supply, nerve supply, you will have marginal mandibular close by the terminal branches. The one sensory nerve, mental nerve, is associated with the chin. We have to be careful while performing the procedure. So the preoperative evaluation, chin deformities can manifest in 3 dimensions, but the vast majority is in the horizontal plane. So analysis will be scrutiny of the skeletal, dental and soft tissue structures. Vertical balance of the face can be judged by using relative size and proportions of various structures. Harmony is more important than absolute proportionality. These include lip position, shape, depth of the labiomental fold, soft tissue envelope covering the mandibular symphysis. So the face is divided into upper third, middle third and lower third, and the lower third is further subdivided into upper 1/3 and lower 2/3. So chin comes in the lower 2/3 of the face. So what are the cephalometric analysis? You have Downs, Stinners and Tweeds analysis. You have Gonzalez, Ulloa and Stevens analysis, in which the line is constructed perpendicular to the Frankfurt horizontal plane and passing through the soft tissue Neosion. The soft tissue chin should be tangent to this line. Merrifeld's Z angle is a line from the soft tissue tangent. You can see it in the screen, and is tangent to the most protuberant lip, which forms an angle with the Frankfurt horizontal plane. The upper lip should fall on the profile line with lower lip tangent to or slightly behind the profile line. Here it is. Ricketts aesthetic plane, again it is from the from the tip of the nose to the chin. The upper lip is 4 mm behind and the lower lip is 2 mm behind the aesthetic plane. And the Holdaway suggested a line tangent to the chin and upper lip. This line forms along Nasion and Basion and should be about 7 to 9 degrees. There are 2 lines from Nasion and Basion. Zimmer, Cox is a very important for all orthognathic procedures, and point B to Pognion. This is the distance from point B to a line perpendicular mandibular plane through Pognion. This short line describes the prominence of the chin related to mandibular denture base. This should be around 7.2 plus or minus 1.9. NB again should be 6.9 to 4.3, and N Nasion to Pognion should be 6.5 plus or minus 5.1. Stinner also used soft tissue components to define the pleasing profiles. He constructed a plane from the middle of the columella between the curves of upper and lip and nasal tip. This line should fall on this line. All cephalometric assessments should be critically weighed against the clinical judgment, and individual needs should be. So, history of genial procedures. Hofer gave it 1942 gave an extraoral incision for horizontal sliding osteotomy. Converse 1950, feasibility of bone grafts through intraoral approach. Troner and Obigezer, eminent orthognathic surgeons, 1957 used the horizontal osteotomy through intraoral incision with degloving of anterior mandible. This is a classic procedure which is still followed till now. Converse and Woodsmith described various applications and versatility of horizontal osteotomy. Richenbach and colleagues proposed wedge osteotomy and vertical shortening of the chin in 1965. Heinz and Kent gave the importance of the biologic basis that the soft tissue attachment in the inferior segment is very important to maintain the viability of the chin. So chin can be classified according to Guerin. It can be classified into microgenia, combined, asymmetric, with chin, pseudomicrogenia, and iatrogenic malposition. This was a classic article in 1995 given by Guerin et al. So types of genioplasty, you have osseous and alloplastic. Incisions are extraoral and intraoral. Types of genioplasty are horizontal osteotomy with advancement, horizontal osteotomy with AP reduction, Tennant's technique, double sliding horizontal osteotomy, vertical reduction genioplasty, and vertical augmentation. Alloplastic genioplasty, different types are hydroxyapatite, silastic, and hard tissue. So advantages and disadvantages of chin osteotomy, they are very versatile procedure, but they require additional risks from surgery and anesthesia, can correct vertical problems, corrects anterior posterior axis and asymmetry, significant microdroplet and blood spillover, stable over time, and the disadvantage is vascular injury. Common disadvantages is mental nerve paresthesia. So horizontal osteotomy is done this way. It is there's 5 mm below the canine root, you can see it in the diagram, and 10 to 15 mm of bony segment is kept intact. From the mental foramen it is 4 to 5 mm below. So you can see in the second picture the cut being performed. So horizontal osteotomy with advancement, the picture describes after the marking of the midline and then using the oscillating saw, once the chin is then fixed with either the bone plate, this is the chin plate which is stabilized by putting the chin forward. Then there is double sliding horizontal osteotomy. If the chin is too much retruded, you can use double segments and you can stepwise forward it. Overlapping osteotomy, wherein you are completely taking this entire segment completely out. Then you have horizontal osteotomy with anterior posterior reduction. You can take it slidingly backward. And then this is Tenon's technique, 1974. The Tenon technique allows for mortising of tenon into the mobilized fragment when the chin is advanced. In the setback procedure, the tenon is reversed and mobilized. So transverse deformities of the chin, you have transverse deficiency, transverse axis, and asymmetry of the chin. So widening or narrowing can also be done by removal of the segment. You can remove the segment and narrow it. You can widen it by putting a graft in between. So correction of asymmetry, mandibular asymmetry, sliding osteotomies, transverse sliding osteotomy can be done and graft can be used. Sliding double lateral osteotomy can be done. Oblique sliding wedge ostectomy can be done, wherein there's one segment ostectomy is done and the lateral sliding is used. So vertical reduction, again approximately 3 to 5 mm. You can see it to reduce the height of the chin. You can remove a part of the segment in between and reduce the height. Technique to increase the chin height. Again you can slide it. This is the way to increase the chin height, wherein you can downslide the chin. And vertical augmentation. This is to increase the lower facial height, accomplished by alloplastic materials. Alloplastic augmentation affords the possibility of not only AP augmentation but also vertical, and is importantly for lateral augmentation. The drawback of osseous genoplasty, including the possibility of asymmetric advancement and narrowing with large advancement. The use of alloplasts with lateral extension can eliminate this problem. Alloists are still somewhat controversial because they go fibrous integration, and variety of surgical techniques can be used for insertion. Commonly intraoral approach is used. Implants can be used to lengthen the anterior mandible by dimension by extending them below the anterior mandibular border, as well as to augment the parafacial region. Bone resorption under alloplast have been seen in patients with hyperactive mentalis muscle. Augmentation using implants. Autologous calvarial bone can be used to augment. Metals like have corrosive and high rate of bone erosion, and polymers are most commonly used. So as alloplast, polymers are preferred. Polymers commonly are dimethyl siloxane, polyamide, polyethylene, expanded polytetrafluoroethylene, PTFE, Gore-Tex, polymethyl methacrylate, silicone chin implants. So composite hard tissue replacement plus polymethyl methacrylate can be used. Hydrophilic and Silastic can also be used. Next slide will show you the diagram of the alloplastic implants, polymethyl lactate. Thank you.